Hello and welcome back to Mexico News Network's breaking news, broadcasting from El Dorado Royal Spa Resort by Charisma. Now, we've still got great information for you coming right ahead, but don't forget to follow us on social networks on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and stay informed 24/7 of the world of science and technology by logging on to our website, www.mexiconewsnetwork.com. Now, let's continue with more information. The latest science robots are taking over the world. They are building a bridge over an Amsterdam canal. That's the plan, at least, for an ambitious project that will use industrial robots to print a metal bridge over water by drawing steel structures in 3D. Dutch robotic printing firm MX3D is leading the gravity-defying build with this. Now, here's how it works. Engineers start with a piece of metal attached to a canal bank. The robots begin at one side of the canal, adding small amounts of molten metal to create lines in midair. The lines intersect to create a self-supporting structure, in this case, a bridge. Now, designer Joris Laarman said that this bridge will show how 3D printing finally enters the world of large-scale functional objects. It is early days for the robot bridge, though, and the team hope to begin construction by 2017. The exact location will be revealed later in the year, but 3D printing continues to gain ground for large as well as small objects with this. Now, the technology is transforming lengthy prototyping processes in industries ranging from aerospace and consumer electronics, as well as medicine and cosmetics. Technology consultant Lux Research forecasts that 3D printing industry will be worth $12 billion by 2015. The machines have gone mainstream in recent years, though. Amazon has a 3D printing store, while Staples also sells marker board products as well as a cube from 3D Systems. However, owning your own 3D machine is quite pricey. The MakerBot Replicator Mini sells for $1,375. In more information, talking about 3D printers, human skin could also be rolling off a 3D printer near you within 5 years. Companies are working on using live cells and specialized 3D machines in a process called bioprinting, which experts say could be worth $1 billion again by 2015. Printing organs has generated plenty of hype for this branch of high-tech manufacturing. However, applications for beauty firms are more likely to emerge quite sooner. Cosmetics giant L'Oreal is leading the way in this. The world's biggest beauty firm recently teamed up with US biotech Organovo to develop 3D printed skin tissues. It wants to create skin for product testing, of course. L'Oreal has been making skin for decades. The French company grows skin in laboratories, adding pigments and aging the tissues, in part as a way to get around a European ban on the sale of cosmetics tested on animals. However, growing skin is quite a slow and complex procedure. 3D bioprinting would then speed things up. Instead of waiting for skin to develop in a laboratory, cosmetic companies could build models more quickly by printing them out. It also creates much stronger prototypes with this. Now, skin is thin, making it a relatively easy tissue to print. A syringe in the printer moves along the line of tissue, squeezing out all cell solutions very slowly. Layers are then added to create the desired thickness of the skin. Arnold Bow, a technology consultant at Lux Research, said that the syringe format, it would be possible to create different skin types. You can recreate sensitive skin or man's skin even. Now, that could mean new products as well as revenues for companies such as L'Oreal. The firm spent nearly $1 billion only on research and innovation in the year 2013. Researchers have succeeded in printing human skin, but commercial applications such as cosmetic testing are still about 5 years away, though, according to Bow, partly because scientists need to overcome the challenge of using living cells during the printing process. However, that's not holding big business back, though. Procter & Gamble also want to get in on the act. The consumer goods giant wants academics to submit proposals for 3D bioprinting research grants. Alternatives to animal testing are one of the applications the company has in mind, along with product innovation and safety screening, of course. Procter & Gamble Global Life Sciences Innovation Leader Elena Lurie-Luke said some safety questions are still difficult to mimic with today's methods and new, additional, non-animal alternative methods are needed. 3D bioprinting is a promising option and a great solution for the future. In other news, Europa is one of Jupiter's larger moons. It is about the size of the Earth's moon, and it is thought to be one of the best places to look for life within our solar system, which besides the Earth, of course. Interest in the icy world heated up in the year 2012 when the Hubble Space Telescope observed water vapor above the south polar region of Europa. NASA says those observations gave scientists strong evidence of water plumes erupting off of the moon's surface. Long before Hubble made those findings, a NASA spacecraft named Galileo traveled to Jupiter in 1995 and found evidence that Europa has salty ocean beneath its frozen crust. NASA says that ocean may have more than twice as much water as it does on Earth. John Grunsfeld, Associate Administrator for NASA's Science Mission Directorate in Washington, D.C., said in a statement in May that Europa has tantalized them with its enigmatic icy surface and evidence of vast, very, very vast ocean, more than the Earth, following the amazing data from 11 flybys of the Galileo spacecraft over a decade ago and recent Hubble observations suggesting plumes of water shooting out from the moon. They are all very excited about the potential of this new mission and these instruments to unravel the mysteries of Europa in the quest to find evidence of life beyond the Earth. Now, NASA hopes that the new probe will help determine if Europa really does have the ingredients for life, according to Barry Goldstein, manager of the Europa project at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. Goldstein told CNN in an email that the mission took a big step forward Wednesday when NASA announced it had been moved to what called the formulation phase. He in fact said that in this phase, they mature the mission design and requirements to assure that they are asking the correct science questions and designing as well the correct mission to answer all those questions. The space agency has included $30 million in its 2016 budget to plan the mission only. Goldstein said that there is still work to do before NASA officially clears mission managers to build the hardware and software for the mission. If the mission does get final approval, the spacecraft would be launched in around the 2020s. It would take several years to get Jupiter, and when it arrived, would orbit the giant planet about every 2 weeks, providing many opportunities for close flybys of Europa, according to a NASA statement. Even if it gets approved quickly, the Europa spacecraft will not be the next visitor on the Jupiter system. NASA's Juno spacecraft is due to arrive at Jupiter on July 4, 2016. In more news, it's good to keep in touch, something that Eddie Haug and Laura Schwenberg know only too well. Now, the pair have been friends ever since childhood. Within the first year of their friendship, sadly, nerve damage inflicted by an inherited genetic condition robbed Haug of his sight and hearing. He was only 9, but children are natural innovators, so they started to invent languages and forms of communication just because they were kids and wanted to play together. So the two invented their very own tactile language back in those days. As Anne Schwenger grew older, they replaced their private language with one that is more widely understood, called Lorm, a tactile alphabet spelled out with strokes to the hand. It was invented in the 19th century by Hieronymus Lorm, an anonymous pseudonym for Austrian-born poet, journalist, and novelist Heinrich Landsmann, and is still used today by the deaf-blind community in German-speaking countries. However, LORM and other forms of tactile signing have their own limits. A reliance on physical contact between communicators has historically constrained the social circles of the deafblind to those they can meet face-to-face or, more accurately, hand-to-hand on a regular basis. And even within this relatively small group of people, only those who take the time to learn and practice LORM can really become part of a deaf-blind individual social network. Billing, a researcher at the Design Lab in Berlin, has developed a glove kitted out with fabric pressure sensors. By translating a tactile hand-touch alphabet into digital text, their mobile glove could eliminate the necessity of hand-to-hand physical contact for deaf-blind communication. Even better, because a great deal of online communication is text-based, the glove could act as a translating device that allows people who are deafblind to communicate freely with practically anyone and for anyone to communicate with them. Overall, it's an invention reminiscent of the outlandish gadgets seen in James Bond's movies, and it won Billing first prize in the 2014 Falling Walls Lab competition, which is a kind of TED Talks meets Dragon's Den, held annually in Berlin. The first prototype was made from Gore-Tex fabric and felt much like an ordinary glove. Billing explained, "It is embedded with small vibrating motors, and as soon as you receive an incoming message, it starts vibrating on those dots where the letters are positioned," he said. In the current version, users can adjust the intensity and speed of the incoming tactile messages according to their reading skills. What's more, the whole hand area of the glove is now wired for sensory input, which is just like a tablet, he says. The system recognizes both the position and pattern of the finger movement, so users can also spell out their very own messages. If a sign is not typed quite correctly, the LORM glove system recognizes the closest symbol, just like a spell checker, in fact, on your smartphone. Now, speaking through Schwenger's translation, Haug describes the glove prototype as a bit slower than what he is used to in terms of receiving these messages. Billing's project is part of his doctoral studies exploring links between design and ability. He in fact argues that feeling disabled is a question of design. A ramp, for instance, is easy for anyone to ascend, even if they are in a wheelchair. He hopes that his design will enable deafblind people to engage with a broader spectrum of their community, as well as gain access to a broader range of information, thus enhancing their independence. However, he also hopes that gaining knowledge about alternative communication systems can profit practically anyone. Most of us sadly take for granted the digital revolution and the amazing new connections it has offered the entire society. For those constrained by a barrier of unseen sights and unheard sounds, it was once unexplored territory, but with the new LORM glove, they might just have that world in the palm of their hands. We'll be right back with more information right after these few messages.
Audio Jungle.